Today on the Patina Says podcast, I'll be sharing my 2025 everyday carry, 5 of my favorite vinyl records, and other stuff too, so go ahead and stick around. Alright, last week I posed the question, should I actually share my 2025 everyday carry, because not too much has changed from last year, and I got enough comments saying, okay, sure. That sounds fine. Enough enthusiasm was there that is what we are doing. And that is why this is the Patina. Look at the patina, says podcast, because if you watch any everyday carry content, hopefully I didn't just blow into the microphone. If you watch any EDC video, all they talk about is patina. Look at the patina on my wallet. Look at the patina on my knife. Look at the patina on the micarta. It's as though that's all that matters. I'm just poking fun at them. If that brings you joy, if that makes you happy, more power to you. I just find it funny. And if I can find a proper everyday carry intro, just rock and roll guitar, we'll lead into it right now. If you can't take the fire, get out of the kitchen. Because that totally applies to everyday carry. Note, on the microphone, right now I'm on the 87, but I use a lavalier microphone for this so that I could move around. It is the Sanken COS 11D, clipped right under my chin. I know, chin shadow. But that gave me a better signal to background noise and reverb ratio, and then I just EQ'd a lot more treble and air into it to open it up. I pulled out some at 300 hertz, I think, to try to clear it up because it did sound a bit muffled, but other than that, that's what I used. Cue the rock and roll music for my 2025 everyday carry, Patina! Okay, it is now time for a 2025 everyday carry update, and we're going to start with what I never leave home without. The number one item is obvious. It is my keys. I have them on a James brand carabiner. This is what I've been using for years. Still holding up. I have a Swiss Army knife that has a bottle opener, an Apple AirTag, a key fob for my gym, car key, house key, all that stuff. I never leave home without that. Quick side note, when I am at home, I like to have stuff on me at all times, but I don't want those keys. So I have an at-home carabiner that I clip on. It has a flashlight, it has a Swiss Army knife as well, and it has my chapstick. So I carry that around with me. Whenever I'm at home, I just clip it on and then wander about, and I never want for anything because everything I need is on my belt loop. Another thing that I use every single day. Next, I have the stuff that is clipped onto my pocket, and this has not changed at all. Number one is a Streamlight MicroStream. I choose to use the AAA battery version because when the battery dies, I can replace it immediately. I don't need to throw it on a charger. I do not have to survive without a flashlight, so that is why I still use the AAA battery version. And then I have a pocket knife. This is the James brand. I have no idea. This thing is not locking, but it has a pocket knife, it has a pair of scissors, and it has a pry bar at the end. The thing that I like about this is, first off, the pry bar, and secondly, it is not intimidating, so I can carry this into the office if I need to. It is just a very useful tool to have. Then I have my phone, which I try to leave home without. I try not to use it too much. It is the iPhone 15 Pro. I have had it for maybe a year and a half at this point, and I am not thrilled with the battery life. It's already down to 92% battery health, so I'll need to replace that soon, but that is the phone that I use, and it's fine for what I use it for. Hopefully, with the battery replacement, it will last me another 6 or 7 years. Next up is my wallet, and this is another item that hasn't changed. It's an Osgood Marley billfold, has an ID slot, a couple slots for cards, and then it has a spot for cash so you can actually pay and not have all of your purchases tracked and then marketed to you. We saw you bought this. I bet you want to buy some more stuff too, so I keep a billfold as well. Then in my front left pocket, I have a microfiber cloth because I wear glasses and I always need to wipe them off. You should not use your shirt because that will just rip any coating off of the glasses, so I always have a microfiber cloth as well. Then, because I'm a 97-year-old man, in my back left pocket, I carry a handkerchief. This is made of Irish linen, so it dries faster than cotton. It is a bit on the expensive side, but if you wipe your nose a lot, if you have allergies, it is extremely helpful. I know it's gross, but it's better than wiping your nose on your hand like you're a child. So this is the best solution that I have, having an actual handkerchief. Then I have some pocket junk in my coin pocket or pocket watch pocket. And first thing is a couple of guitar picks because maybe you need to play guitar. It's all about eliminating hurdles to getting creative ideas out. So if you don't have a guitar pick, that idea may disappear. So having the ability to play guitar if you have an idea is really important. And then I have a little baggie that has more guitar picks. It has a dollar coin, a lucky coin, and a paper clip to change watch bracelet sizing if I need to. That is another thing that I never leave home without. Talking about watch sizing, I never leave home without a wristwatch. Over 2024, my most worn watches were the Pelagos 39, which I have now had for over 2 years, and then a G-Shock Square. Right now, I'm using the 5610U, which I'm shocked to say I have now had for about 5 years. This is the one that made me fall in love with G-Shock. So those are the two watches I wear on my left wrist. And then when I am exercising on my right hand wrist, I will wear the Apple Watch Ultra. I don't like the tracking. I don't like the constant buzzing, the constant pay attention to me that smartwatches have. But for fitness tracking, it's really useful. So I'll wear this when I sleep to track my sleep, so I know why I'm angry or why I'm well rested. And I also like to track my heart rate and all of that when I'm exercising. I'm realizing there's a lot of stuff that I never leave home without. Another thing is a baseball cap. I wear baseball caps because my eye doctor said you need to wear baseball caps to protect your eyes. So I always wear a baseball cap to keep the sun out of my eyes, to hopefully salvage the little eyesight I have left for as long as possible. On that note, he also recommended getting a pair of sunglasses, which I already had, but I used that as an excuse to get nicer sunglasses. So I got the new Ray-Ban Wayfarers. I don't love them. I think next year or this year, I'm going to get the classic Wayfarer sunglasses, but I wear sunglasses whenever I leave home and I'm outside because I want to protect the sight that I have. And the last thing I never leave home without is not something I carry in my pockets. It is something that I wear, and it is a cologne or fragrance. Today and the last couple of weeks, I have been on a Drakkar Noir kick. It is one of the best scents. It just smells like the 1980s. If you want to imagine what it's like to be in the 80s, going to a club, wear Drakkar Noir, throw on a Casio G-Shock Square, watch The Terminator, you're there, dude. You're there. So that is the last thing that I never leave home without. Now let's talk about the stuff that I mostly never leave home without, and number one is headphones. Over the last year, I really haven't had too much time to focus on just listening to music and enjoying it, or listening and syncing my podcast to my podcast player, so I have reverted back to the AirPods Pro 2. I will use these with Apple Music. I throw on a playlist, find out new stuff that I enjoy, and also use Overcast to listen to podcasts when I very rarely have that opportunity. The noise cancellation is great. They don't sound the best, but they are perfectly sufficient, and it's another really good point of reference for listening back to microphones before I review them. So aside from listening in the studio, I'll also use the AirPods Pro because I know a lot of people have those. Then we have my IEMs, which are my in-ear monitors, and in the past they were the Dunu SA6s. My Dunus got a crack in one of the earphones, so I haven't replaced them or got them repaired. So I had to go back to the Shure 535 IEMs because that's what I had, and I had zero desire to spend a bunch of money on IEMs, so I am just using the 535s whenever I need to use IEMs, but as I mentioned, haven't really had much time for that. And to connect those IEMs, I use two different players. I use a SanDisk ClipJam MP3 for podcasts and a Channeling M0 Pro for music. I love the headphone amp in the Channeling. The operating system it's tolerable. I'm still waiting for any little dedicated DAP manufacturer to add podcast functionality. I will say that every year until somebody does it. So if I have time, I will bring these, but I have been struggling to find time to enjoy podcasts or music at least the last 6 months. I've been swamped. Next item is a water bottle because now I am a boring person and I don't drink anything other than coffee and water, and I like staying hydrated. This is a gift from Pags over at MEI Studio. It has podcastage engraved on it. It is awesome. And then I have another water bottle when I'm washing this or vice versa, so I always have a clean water bottle to stay hydrated. And the last items are pens and notebooks. If I am writing down a grocery list, I will use a Bic Click Stick. That's a change from prior years. I got sick and tired of losing pen caps, so I got a clickable pen. I annoy everybody around me when I'm grocery shopping, and I use a Write in the Rain pad to write down my grocery list and cross off everything and add up everything so I know exactly how much I should be expecting the bill to come out to, because I am that weirdo. But if I am not writing down a grocery list, I will use my field notes. Nothing has changed there. I still have a dozen of these to get through. I log everything that I eat. I log the push-ups that I do. I write down to-do lists. And at home, as my watch beeps at me, I will use a fountain pen, and I am still on the Kaweco Sport. I really like these. These are just very functional and easy to use and affordable, so you don't feel guilty using them and abusing them. Just a great pen and a great pad of paper. I think that is everything. I know a lot of people say, oh, you carry too much stuff. Everyday carry is about making sure that you have what you need to survive throughout the day, to get through the day. If this is too much for you, don't carry this much. I don't carry all of this every day. You saw what I carry every single day, and that makes my day easier to get through. So there you go. That's my 2025 everyday carry. Hopefully that was interesting. I will see ya next year. Let's talk about what I have been testing. I am on the Neumann. Hello, Neumann U87AI. I just wanted to throw this on, as I think I probably blew right into the microphone again, but I wanted to throw this on after using the TLM 107 for a few weeks, getting that review out, just to get back on, I don't want to say Old Faithful, because the 7B is Old Faithful, old familiar. Get back on a microphone that I am very familiar with, that I really like the sound of. I am running into the Universal Audio X8. Let me go ahead and take a sip of water, and we will continue with the show. All right, that is it for what I've been testing. Now let us jump to what you had to say. And the first comment comes from Miles T.F. Baxter, and they say, fully agree, Day of the Dead is the best of Romero's Dead trilogy. Great gore and great soundtrack, which of course you can get on modern vinyl. Speaking of, it doesn't seem like you're into vinyl. Is this correct? Maybe vinyl is bigger among headphone enthusiasts than microphone enthusiasts. Speculates wildly. I have no idea why I struggle to say speculates. I have said that a million times, but when I read that, I just lost my ability to speak. Yes, Day of the Dead, in my opinion, is the best of the George Romero Dead trilogy because of the great gore, because of the great soundtrack, the great score. Some of the acting is over the top, but what I love most about Day of the Dead is what a downer it is. What a bummer it is, because it gives this sense of dread, this sense of impending doom that I don't feel when watching Night of the Living Dead or Dawn of the Dead. It's the same kind of feeling that I get from 28 Days Later, and why I think that is such an effective and why it's such a special zombie movie. Because 28 Days Later and Day of the Dead really explore the depravity of humans and how quickly you lose humanity in the end of the world and the apocalypse. When society collapses, the people in these movies lose their humanity very quickly, and I think that is accurate. That's something I don't think has been explored too effectively in a lot of zombie movies and a lot of apocalypse movies, so that's what really stood out to me from Day of the Dead. After watching it, I am left with this sense of just dread. I feel so sad. And that's what you should leave a zombie movie, an apocalypse movie feeling. You shouldn't leave the movie feeling, wow, what a great day. I am happy to be alive, and that was just a romp in the hay. You should be leaving the movie thinking, oh my God, this is such a bummer. Oh God, humans, let's hope that never happens, because that's exactly what that would be like. That's what I love about Day of the Dead. Now let's discuss vinyl records. I do or did collect vinyl records for a long time. I would say I have 50, maybe 70 of them, but I have essentially stopped buying new vinyl except for very rare cases just because they are way too big. I don't like the size of them. It just takes too much space to store them, and they are way too heavy. So I have gone towards CDs because the case is so much smaller. But I wanted to share a handful of my favorite vinyls, records that are special to me, and we'll just dive into it. Number 1 is, in my opinion, the best Radiohead album, Kid A. The opening of this is such a bummer. Can you tell that I like things that are depressing? I think this is the best of Radiohead. Just don't have it on repeat for multiple days, otherwise your neighbors will start knocking and saying, "Are you alive? Kid A has been on repeat for 2 days, and either you have ended it all, or you are just very bummed out and we want to check on you." Nope, that did not happen to me. So Kid A, Radiohead, one of my favorite vinyls and just one of my favorite records, albums of all time. Next, we have some, I believe, Washington-based pop punk, alternative rock. I have no idea what you would classify them as. Gatsby's American Dream, Ribbons, and Sugar. When I first heard this in 2003 or 2004, I did not get it. I thought, this doesn't sound like anything I've heard before. I just want to hear more Blink-182. And then this just clicked. It is one of the most unique punk sounds out there. I don't know how to classify it. They have songs that are based on Animal Farm. They have songs that are just very sweet and very... I don't know how to describe it. It is just a fantastic mix of musicianship. Listen to Ribbons and Sugar by Gatsby's American Dream and try to classify it. Rock? Alternative? Who knows? Number 3 is going to get me crucified. It is my favorite Descendants album. I think the best Descendants album, Everything Sucks. The reason why that will get me crucified is it is not I Don't Want to Grow Up, or Milo Goes to College, which people think are the best. Maybe it's just this is the one that really exposed me to Descendants, but I think they really hit their stride here with their songwriting. The poppier songs just have great melodies. They are well performed. They are well sung. They are well produced. They just were firing on all cylinders. Just. Can I say just anymore? This is my all-time favorite Descendants album, and maybe my favorite pop punk album of all time. It's gotta be up there with, why can't I think of it? Enema of the State. That's a perfect album as well. I don't think I could decide. I'd put Descendants above Blink. Next, we have an album which I haven't actually listened to on vinyl, but it is from my second favorite movie of all time. It is the score by Johnny Greenwood of Radiohead for There Will Be Blood. I think this score is one of the best scores out there because I found the music to kind of function in parallel with the story where Daniel Plainview slowly loses his mind and becomes more greedy. The music becomes more atonal, more unsettling. And I am sure that this occurs in other movies as well. But this one was just so effective. It just stood out to me so much that when I saw this was available on vinyl, I had to buy it. But I haven't actually listened to it on vinyl, so there you go. Probably one of my favorite scores of all time. If you like atonal stuff, 20th century music, it is fantastic. The last one is Muse Simulation Theory. I seem to have a thing where I will pre-order Muse vinyl. I didn't do that with their latest album, but I did it with Uprising. Is that what it's called? I don't think that's what it's called. Why can't I remember the name of it? Whatever that album was, I did it with Simulation Theory. I don't think I did it with Drones, but Simulation Theory is a special one. I think this is one of Muse's better albums. Their early stuff is great because it is more angsty. It is darker. It is more emo, if you will, but I also love that they brought in more synthwave elements here, and it is just an incredibly fun listen. And it has the CD, it has the vinyl, and I did also pick up the Muse Origins, but I don't think that has vinyl. That is just CDs, and it has all their original recordings. I really think Muse is one of the best bands working today amongst Descendants. Gatsby's is doing some stuff again. I don't think they're recording, but they did some shows, and then Radiohead, come on, get out of town. Does it get any better than that? I don't think so. So those are 5 of my favorite vinyls or records or albums or scores. I just don't listen to them too much because I don't have a great turntable. It's the low-priced Audio-Technica, and I have heard that can damage your records, so I haven't used it too much. Once I actually buy a place, move in, and settle down for good, I will invest in a proper turntable, and then perhaps I will get back into vinyl a bit more, knowing that I won't have to move it one day. But for the time being, my vinyl collecting days are at a standstill. Next, we have a comment from Gregor Mima, and he says, "Let me chime in with my MP3 experience. I encoded my first audio file back in 1992 using the DOS Fraunhofer MP3 encoder. It was 128 kilobits per second at 44.1 kilohertz. Over the years, I transitioned to 192 kHz variable bitrate and eventually settled on 320 constant bitrate stereo nowadays. But honestly, for the average listener, there's basically no noticeable difference between 160 and 320 kilobits per second. I've seen multiple blind tests with high-end speakers and headphones involving people aged 17 to 48, and most couldn't tell the difference. Only one person managed an 8 out of 10 score. Considering today's music consumers using subpar in-ears, the point feels even less relevant. Oh, and don't let me even start on FLAC. Sir Gregor Clegane, thank you very much for the comment. Thank you for sharing your findings and your experience here. That is very interesting, and I have no doubt that that is accurate, especially once you start taking into account the average listener who hasn't trained their ears, they don't know what to listen for. I absolutely believe that the vast majority of people would not be able to tell the difference between 160 and 320, and that is why I am more than okay publishing 320 as opposed to adding the additional overhead that would come with publishing lossless. Would there be a benefit? Would some people notice? Absolutely. But is that minute number of people who would get a benefit from that? Is that worth the additional cost that would be associated with the distribution of those files? I don't know. I can tell you from personal experience, I have struggled with identifying differences between 160 and 320, and that is because I did not know what to listen for. When I think of lossy codecs and where that is the most obvious, I automatically listen for cymbals because that is the most apparent place. They just get washed out. They sound warbly. They sound terrible. But once the audio file, once the recording has no cymbals, I'm kind of lost initially. So when I did a test, I think I got 2 or 3 out of 5. I'm not gonna defend myself because the end result is all that matters. I had the right selection and then I changed it multiple times. But I ended up guessing the wrong one. So I do think that's accurate. Once you learn what to listen for, it becomes much easier to decipher between lossless and lossy. But I think it gets more difficult if you don't have a direct A/B comparison. So you could hear a lossless and then a lossy version and say, okay, I believe this is the lossy version. But if you don't have that lossless version to compare it against, I doubt most people would say, oh yeah, that's wave. Oh yeah, that's FLAC. Oh yeah, that's a 320 kilobits per second MP3. I don't think people have that. I don't think most people have that capability. So I agree with you. I think that's probably very accurate, especially when you take into account how most people consume content, videos, podcasts, music, whatever. They are listening on subpar headphones, crappy speakers, phone speakers, in noisy environments. They don't listen in treated spaces that are well designed. So all of those factors will lead to them not really noticing a benefit. Thank you very much, Sir Gregor Clegane. Was he the mountain or was he the hound? Gregor was the hound, I think. Thank you very much. Next, we have a comment from The Forgotten Times, and he says, can the Podcastage channel post the review songs as music videos /YouTube music? That would be cool. Forgotten Times, thank you very much for the comment, and thank you for the suggestion. I have no idea what you need to do to get your music videos labeled as YouTube music and get them pumped in there. I don't know the process to that, but your question made me wonder something. Why haven't I done this in the past? Why don't I get one of those unlimited publishing services, not CD Baby? I know Audio Haze has done adverts for them. I can't remember the name of them right now, but Why don't I publish lossless audio files to Apple Music, Tidal, all of those places? That way, if you have Apple Music, you can listen to the lossless version. I have no idea why I haven't done that. As long as you already pay for that subscription, you'd be getting higher quality audio. Why haven't I done that? That is a great idea, Forgotten. And if you don't have those services, or if you use Spotify, which I think is still $256, correct me if I'm wrong. I know Spotify doesn't do lossless yet. Apple Music does. Tidal does. Amazon Music does not. There are others as well, but I would still have the 320 kilobits per second available on my website so you could still get that higher quality audio. I'm going to have to look into that. See what the annual license cost is to get unlimited publishing, and then every week I could publish the lossless version, and it would probably be delayed a couple of days, but you'd be able to listen to it if you have those services. Very good suggestion. Next, we have a comment from Typical Books, aka Lydia, and she says, I was super excited by the YouTube audio improvement and was hoping it would roll out to everyone. Thank you for explaining it far better than the Creator Insider did. Now, haha, I couldn't care less. Oud Wood is a good suggestion, and if you want to see if something wild works for you, test Tom Ford Anthracite if you get a chance. It's great if it works with your chemistry. Also, there is a very rough, violent horror film called Grotesque that has an element of nose blindness, too. Lydia, thank you very much for the comment, and thank you for sharing your thoughts and some recommendations as well. It's always great to hear from you, and I hope you've been doing well. Yeah, I was pretty disappointed by the announcement once I dug into it because I had such high hopes. You saw that last week, me just being so thrilled about the idea of high quality audio on YouTube. Cut out all of the high pass filters or low pass filters. Just give us better audio, please, YouTube, please. I'm begging you. We spend so much time and money. Give us good audio. They're not going to do it, so for the time being, we are going to need to continue to find these workarounds of distributing higher quality audio, hosting it on our websites, maybe publishing lossless audio through Apple Music, Tidal. I think that's an interesting solution. I cannot wait to dive into that. So thank you very much. I did decide to do a second no spend month. I just completed no spend January. And then I decided, hey, why not do February as well? So I'm unable to buy any of these scents that you recommend, but I will add Oud Wood and Anthracite to the list of samplers that I need to eventually get my hands on and try out. But for the time being, I'm stuck with what I have, and as you saw, Drakkar Noir is my current one. I have the new Drakkar Noir Extreme that I got when that came out. Didn't like it initially. Now I love it, but it just does not last. It's gone in an hour, but it smells so good. Then the Aqua de Jo Parfum, I think that came out in 2023, was it? I've been enjoying that a lot as well because my normal EDT Aqua de Jo is gone. So I am moving on to greener pastures. I am going to see if Grotesque is available on any of the streaming services that I have, whether it's Shudder, Amazon Prime, or the free one, which is Tubi? Freevee? One of those. We'll see if it's on there. Oh, or on Plex. Because Plex also has access to some movies. I'm going to see if I can find it because that sounds good. I love the extreme horror movies, even though it leaves me feeling terrible. I have been so stressed at work that I could use one of these violent movies just to remind myself, oh yeah, I guess life is pretty good. Things aren't that bad. I'm not being tortured in some dungeon, so things are looking up. You're working a lot, you're stressed to the gills, but at least that's not happening. So thank you very much for the suggestion, Lydia, and thank you for sharing your thoughts. Always great hearing from you. Next, we have a comment from SoundSpeeds, and he says if he didn't shut it off after seeing me clip a lav mic onto my collar, he says, I am nose blind, and you've met me in person. Do I stink? Alan, thank you very much for the comment, and thank you for asking this question, because I have just been racking my brain for the last 3 years. How do I broach this subject? How do I bring this up? How do I address this while still being kind? And you have afforded me that opportunity. You smell so bad. You smell terrible. You smell like farts, rotten meat, fish, just body odor is just the worst concoction of smells I've ever come across. And I have a good game face, so you can never tell, but it's awful. It's truly abysmal, and I don't know. A weight has been lifted off my shoulders now that I have been able to confront you about this and tell you. You can tell that I'm telling the truth because I can't make eye contact and I'm giggling the entire time. No, you smell like you don't smell bad, okay? For anybody that thought I was being serious, no, he doesn't smell like rotten eggs and farts and fish. He smells fine. He doesn't smell bad at all. Okay. Last, we have a comment from Offload Bar. I apologize for mispronouncing your name. He says, hey there, and greetings from Germany. I'm the guy who drew your portrait on Instagram as a thank you for all that you have taught us viewers. Once again, thank you so much for being such a great person and for all the time you invest to make your great videos. Offload Bar, I apologize again for mispronouncing your name. I watched one of your videos to try to catch how you pronounce it, but I don't think you said it at the beginning, or if you did, I am way off on my pronunciation. Thank you very much for the kind words, the really great comment, and the amazing art that you did. That really does mean a lot to me. I'll throw it up on screen, and I will also throw a link to Off's Instagram in the episode notes and description. He has been doing a lot of portraits of people. He does great work. So if you want to check some of that out, I'll throw his link in the episode notes and description. And again, thank you so much for that art. It's very flattering, and I really do appreciate you. That is it for what you had to say. Now we are jumping to the value for value section because this is a V for V podcast. That means no ads, no paywall. I put the show out there and you determine if you got any value out of it. If you did, return it however you want. Time, talent, treasure, share it with a friend, promote it, do whatever you want if you get value out of it. Today we are focusing on the treasure that was sent back, and first up we have $13.99 Canadian from Greg LG, and he says, thanks from a Hoosier from the Great White North, not the 51st state. Greg, thank you very much for the $14 Canadian, and thank you very much for clarifying that the Great White North, aka Canada, is not the 51st state. However, you know me, I am a stickler for accuracy. I love being as precise as I can with my language, so I need to amend your comment ever so slightly. Thanks from a Hoosier from the Great White North, not the 51st state. ... Yet. Not the 51st state. Yet. I, of course, am kidding. At least I hope. I hope I am kidding. I'm just giving you a good-natured ribbing, just like, oh gosh, everybody in Canada is just so friendly. Oh gosh, everybody in America is so rude and fat. It's that kind of ribbing. Hey, we're gonna invade. This will be really embarrassing, and I will have egg on my face if that ever does happen. If that ever does happen, I apologize. I'm just giving you a hard time, Greg. Thank you so much for the 14 Canadian, and thank you for just being awesome and always coming by. Next, we have 25 Swiss francs from Bujakashka, and he says, Vinegar Syndrome are awesome. Their Red and Cyan Glasses releases of Flesh for Frankenstein and Silent Madness made me discover a passion for 3D movies. Also, Udo Kier makes me feel confident making videos despite a slight German accent. Bujakashka, thank you very much for the 25 Swiss francs, and thank you for sharing your thoughts on Vinegar Syndrome. I honestly don't have too much experience with that label. The only thing I own from them is Congo. I would say the primary labels that I have bought from are, I think, Scream Factory or Shout Factory and Arrow Videos. Some of those labels were even available in Best Buy, which is a local electronics shop, which has now stopped selling physical media, but they used to carry them, and I believe Scream Factory was available there. Scream Factory is where I got my Friday the 13th box set. They are who I have the Halloween 4K releases from. I just have a lot of Scream Factory, Shout Factory, and a handful of Arrow Video. Udo Kier, I had to look up who that was. He has one of those faces you just know, you recognize, and then it clicked. It didn't click in my brain, it clicked once I looked him up on IMDb. Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, he is in that, and that's where I recognized him from. He was also apparently in Armageddon. As I hit my microphone, that's embarrassing, but I did recognize him from that. And there's nothing to be ashamed of about having a German accent. Look at Julian Krauss. He has a German accent. Look at Jenny L. If you haven't watched Jenny L, go watch her on YouTube. She is a watch YouTuber. She has a German accent. She's great. Just watch any German actor who's in an English movie. They are great. So regardless of your accent, that's amazing, and something that a lot of people who speak a second language think. They seem to be embarrassed about having an accent. I don't understand that, because you are somebody who is so smart that you have learned a second, third, fourth, whatever language. That is something that most Americans are unable to do, myself included. So the fact that you have an accent while you're speaking another language, that's perfectly fine. Be proud of that, because you are intelligent enough and worldly enough to speak a second language. There's nothing to be ashamed about. And Udo Kier has made you confident. So that is awesome. Very good for you. And thank you very much for the support. I really do appreciate you. Next, we have €50 from none other than TechMed Rainer Richter. And he says, Danke. And then we have another €50 from none other than TechMed Rainer Richter. And he says, Danke, BSP will never be banned. Your audience will stand up for you. BSP has much more value for life than TikTok. Raina, thank you so much for the €50 2 weeks ago. I apologize for missing that. I have no idea how I did. I went to the comments and I didn't see that. So I deeply, deeply apologize. And thank you for the €50 last week as well. All of you are incredible. I really do appreciate your support. It helps keep the bills paid, the hosting, the lighting bills, all of that. Without your support, this show would not continue to exist. So if you are somebody who enjoys this show, it is thanks to the wonderful people who support it, like Greg, Bujakashka, and Raina. Thank you all so much. I really do appreciate you. That is it for the value for value section. We are going to do something that I haven't done in a while. The weekly recommendation, I'll go with marriage. I had Apple Music on random this last week, and a band I had never heard came on, and it caught my attention immediately. The thing that stood out to me was the fact that it started with guitar arpeggios over this driving bass, and the arpeggios were spaced out so much it wasn't overly dense. It was able to breathe. It was a beautiful, gothic, dark-sounding music, and then after about 30 seconds, the vocals started, and oh boy, The vocals, they are different. They are very deep. They are very haunting. They are not what you'd expect at all, especially nowadays where everything is just sing as high as you can, sing out of your register, sing higher. This was just very 1980s goth. It almost sounded, the vocal register reminds me of something like Joy Division or Sisters of Mercy, and it caught me off guard. The band is called Tribulation, and the song is called Hungry Waters. I will throw a link in the episode notes. I haven't done a significant deep dive on the band yet and their discography, but I did listen to a handful of their songs. It seems like this was a departure for them. Their earlier stuff sounds like death metal, black metal, typical Scandinavian style metal. This is much different. But I am a big, big fan, and I cannot wait to dive into the rest of their discography, figure out where they started from, where they're going, and really enjoy the latest album that came out, I think, 5 or 6 months ago. Tribulation, the music video that I heard, or the song I heard, was Hungry Waters, and it clicked for me. It is so good. So if you are looking for really dark, goth, 1980s style music, there you go. Totally worked for me this last week. And that's going to wrap up this week's episode of the BSP. I really do appreciate you coming by, watching, and listening. I know you could do anything with your time, so the fact that you choose to spend any amount of time watching or listening to me really does mean a lot. So thank you very much. I hope you have an amazing Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Next Sunday, I will be back. I will be talking at you, with you, about something. I love you so much. Talk to you later. Bye-bye. Whoa. Whoa. Boop.
This has been a Geeks Rising production. Your executive producer is Bandrew Scott. For more information, head over to www.geeksrising.com.